Movieguide, and we're here at the premiere of The Unbreakable Boy. So come with us as we talk to the stars and filmmakers. Now, this film beautifully demonstrates faith. How has faith played a role in your life?
I mean, it's the guiding force in my life. It's the North Star in my life. I think that I'm here because I was created and blessed with the life that I've been given, and I try to wake up every day and be grateful for that, and trust in that, and be humble to that power that is God, or some people call it the universe, or whatever you want to call it. But it's the force, like the force in Star Wars. It's like in and through all things, and brings all things together, and brings order to the chaos, and love is its highest vibration. Like, I want to serve that every day of my life.
Amazing, amazing. Now, you can't go watching this movie and not come out unscathed. Like, you are going to be affected.
Yeah,
so you filming and interacting with the real people that it's based off of, how has that affected your own personal life?
Well, I mean, very similarly to most all of the jobs that I've taken on as an actor, you get this really cool side effect of your job, which is that it just builds empathy every time. You got to go be a different person, another person. And whether that's a real person, like in this case, or a completely fictional person, you're trying to bring them to life as honestly and as authentically as you can. And in order to do that, you have got to walk more than a mile in their shoes throughout that project and do justice to them, honor that. And and this is no exception. I mean, getting to bring Scott to life on the big screen, a real man who's standing around me somewhere in here, with a great hat and a great suit, and a man who was very, very brave, and to be as raw and vulnerable as he was writing the book, The Unbreakable Boy, that the movie's based on, and talking about how he was not a good husband and not a good father and really struggled in his life. And I think all of that was rooted in first loving and accepting and loving yourself, right? That's what it starts. And then learning to do that. And his autistic son that he was really wrestling with. It's like, this isn't my life, right? Like, I'm not supposed to have an autistic son or with brittle bones. Like, I expected my life to be different, like we all do. And then when he could finally just brought to his knees because of his own addictions and his like self-medication, and to go seek help and just see the beauty in the son, how his son just sees the beauty in every day. And that just, changed his life, and it changed their family. And now we're, celebrating a movie about all that.
So in this movie, it shows a boy who finds joy in difficult circumstances. Where do you turn to find joy?
To find joy, I probably turn to my parents, especially my mom. I turn to my friends, my closest friends. That's probably what I turn to the most.
Beautiful. Now, this movie is a big undertaking. What would you say was your hardest challenge to overcome during filming?
The hardest challenge was probably showing the different wide range of emotions that Austin plays. Like, there are many different scenes where he's like really positive and happy. The more challenging ones were probably the ones where he was really sad, though. Like when he gets taken to the mental institution, or when he gets bumped by the swing and he breaks like every bone in his body. Those were probably the most challenging.
Yeah, it was incredible. Just one without it. Well, how would you say this movie affected you filming it? Because everyone's going to get affected by seeing it. But how would you say it affected you filming?
I say it affected me by giving me a perspective on like how positive it's possible to be. Even going through tons of struggles, you can still be really positive through it all.
And you played a person that was based on a real life person. What was it like meeting them?
I think it was great to meet them. I feel like if you're going to do any story based off of a true story, you need the approval of the real people, and we got the approval of the real people. Austin was really excited to do it. He was really happy with the casting choices, so I think that was great to have.
Amazing. And last question would be, what do you hope people take away from seeing this movie?
I hope people take away the ability that it's possible to have a really positive outlook on life, and it's possible to forgive people when they go through struggles. I'd say those are the most important things.
So this movie, it's such a beautiful movie, and anyone who sees it is not going to walk away unchanged. So how has this movie affected you in your own personal life?
You know what? You said it best. I think it's impossible to see this movie and not be changed. And that's what I love about it. But I also love that it's a movie about a normal family. A family that lives in Omaha. They still live there. And, shining a light on what it means to be a family, the good times and the bad times, not shying away from the hard stuff, but also what it means to be the parent of a special needs kid. I have so many friends. I get emotional thinking about it because so many friends are going through what Scott and Teresa still go through, and the extra effort and patience and time that it takes. And so to be able to have a movie that shines a light on them, I cannot tell you how happy I am to be a part of it.
It's amazing, amazing. And this movie shows this family how they choose and they turn to joy during these such hard times and difficult times. Where do you turn to when you go through difficult times in your own life?
Well, family, for sure. Faith is also important to me. It's funny because I play an imaginary friend. And so the idea of having an imaginary friend for those tough times, I never had one growing up, but I wish I would have. And even now I'm thinking, well, I need to come up with an imaginary friend, my buddy. And I love the way that John wrote this role. And I love the way he wrote this whole movie. It's just so perfectly done. And so, yeah, for me, it's leaning on my wife and my son and my mom and my dad and my brother and my sister and friends. That's what it's about.
So this movie, it's such a beautiful movie, and it's based on a true story. And you not only wrote and directed, but you got to meet the real people that this movie.
They were a big part of the process. The Lorette family. This is based on a book that Scott Lorette wrote about his own family. And then I got to know them, and Austin, who is the Unbreakable Boy, I called him all the time when I was writing this movie just to hear his voice. And I love the way he talks. I love the way he thinks. He's got this incredible spirit. And so the family themselves were very involved in the process. They were on set with us. They watched every cut of the movie. They love this movie, which makes me very happy.
Oh, it's beautiful. I was saying to everyone that you don't go see this movie and come out and leave unchanged. So how has this movie changed your life and these people, this family changed your life?
You know what? This movie it's a story about gratitude, and it has reminded me constantly that every day can be the best day of your life. The spirit of Austin and the optimism that he has and the joy and the zeal for life is something that I take with me all the time, and I'm so proud to share that message with the world.
And the beautiful part of this movie, a beautiful part, is that this family finds joy during difficult times. So where do you turn to when you have hard times in your own life to find joy?
It's a great question. I mean, I think everybody has their own source, whether it's your faith in God can be a great inspiration. And for me, the reminder that in our brokenness, like celebrating our wounds and our scars because they're part of what shape us, and that our family can so often be a source of healing and inspiration. This was a movie that I wrote during quarantine when I was locked up with my wife and daughter, in isolation. And I was so grateful for every day with them in that time. And this is a story about family and about the gratitude that comes from family. So I'm very, very proud to share that.
So this movie shows, your family going through the hard times but having such joy and finding joy in it. How do you find joy in your life now? Is it different from before, or is it new?
Well, number one, it's funny because I think people think that I wrote a book and I made a movie, that everything's fixed and we made it, and this and that. It's more challenging today than it was 20 years ago. We're still broken. We're still flawed. We still sin. We're still messed up. And so that hasn't really changed. It's just, it's more intensified. And so I think that today, though, there are three things, if I could boil it down to, it's faith, love, and humor. And I think that the humor is the one that doesn't get enough play, because I think that having the ability to laugh at oneself is sustained us. Because if you throw in special needs and all these other things, my wife, Teresa, and I should not be married. We're going on 31 years.
Congratulations. That's great.
And so I don't know. What does it say about us? I don't know. It's just, it took those things, though, I think, to keep us as a family. So
now I have 3 siblings who have autism, and they range from nonverbal to high functioning. What advice would you give to people who are artistic or are around people with autism?
Well, if it's a family member, the number one thing I would say is to advocate for your son or daughter or sibling or whatever, because no one else is going to advocate for them. They just won't. From taking control of the IEP to doing whatever, it's take control of your advocacy for that loved one. And we're blessed because Austin's verbal and he's social. At the same time, I got a friend of mine that his daughter is nonverbal, non-social. He's like, I can see some of the things that probably more of a challenge for you than us. And it is, because Austin's verbal and social over the top. He never stops talking. No, And you're laughing, but it's a serious thing. He doesn't know how to, and it's so challenging to deal with because it affects everything. So you see the book and you see the trailer, and you think it's sunshine and rainbows. It as I said, it's more challenging today than it was yesterday, than it was 10 years ago. Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I'm so excited for this movie, and I know so many other people are excited to see this movie. How do you think this movie will affect other people? How do you hope it will affect people?
Well, I think the number one thing is that I hope people walk away and they see something, they take something away from the movie that translates. They watch the dismantling of my family and the putting back together of us throughout the whole time, and they can relate it to some asset or some facet of their own life. That's it. Number one. I mean, if someone walks away and they don't feel anything or see anything, I can't help you, but I'm pretty sure everyone will.
What are things that bring you joy?
Well, out of anything, you mean like anything?
Anything.
Well, first of all, would be my dad, my mom or brother. And while they're not biological, but they're more family and friends. My sister Allison and my brother Tyler. And one of the most things that I enjoy in life is movies. I love movies. My favorite movie ever is The Big Lebowski. And my favorite superhero movie is The Dark Knight.
I love the dog.
Well, my favorite Batman ever. And I love video games, but probably not as much as I like music because I'm a huge fan of the 80s and 70s music. So I prefer vinyl records easy. So I'm a fan of pop culture stuff. I got a lot of my dad's traits. We love those on the same stuff.
What made you want to come out and support the Unbreakable Boy?
I think it's very motivational. I think it's very important, and I think it leaves a great note for other people watching.
Beautiful. So this movie, it highlights, this family that finds joy during difficult times. Where do you turn to when you need to find joy during your own hard times?
I usually hang out with friends, and I talk to them, and I talk to them about how I feel and stuff. So, yeah.
Now, have you seen the movie yet?
I did a long time ago.
How do you think this movie has impacted you just from watching it?
Well, I think just watching it gives me motivation to do things. I think seeing other people's struggles really makes me feel like how lucky I am. So.
And this movie shows the importance of kindness. Is there a moment of kindness that happened to you that just sticks out in your mind?
I've hung out with all of them a lot, and I got really close with Pilot, and we hung out all the time offset. It was amazing. I had a great time. And I also brought my lizard to set, and they ended up using it because Austin actually had this bearded dragon as well. So yeah.
Okay, wait. We need to focus on this. What was the lizard's name?
Sparky, but I forgot what. I think it actually was called Sparky in the movie. I kind of forgot a long time ago.
Amazing. What was your favorite part about filming?
My favorite part about filming, we all kind of came together as a family, and I loved hanging out with everyone. We're all super humble, super nice, and yeah, I had a great time.
This movie, it shows how a family overcomes difficult circumstances and finds joy. How in your own life, or where do you turn to in your own life when you come across some hard times?
Where I come across hard times, the people around me, my friends, my family are the people that I come to, or the thing that I use to get over hard times. Because no matter who you are, what you're going through, you were loved, and I believe that if it's not your family, then it's your friends. If it's not your friends, it's the people you look up to. There's always somebody that cares, So it's the biggest thing for me is just the people around me. Yeah. And I hope that they do that for me too.
Amazing. Now, this is a very impactful movie. It touches on some real topics. How has this movie impacted you? I mean, just from watching it, you get affected, but you were filming it, you were a part of it, you were there every day. How has that affected you?
Yeah. So I've said this in past interviews, but my brother has autism. So for me, this was a chance to spread sort of my own family story and my brother's story, because like I've said before, not many people understand what is going on, when they come into situations with people that do have autism, and I think this was a big chance for the world to get to have that story spread and like gain that awareness for people. And I just think it's beautiful because I get to enlighten people a little bit on what's going on around them, and maybe it can make life a little easier for both of the people in the situation.
Amazing. My brother actually has autism too. So what advice would you give for people who want to befriend someone with autism, or wants to just advice to be around them and not make them uncomfortable or make them
Just be yourself. I mean, they're no different than any other person. They just process differently. They see things differently, and sometimes way better than we do. Honestly, yeah, nothing different. Just understanding and patience.
amazing. And last question would be, what do you hope people take away from watching this movie?
Understanding and patience. Yeah, truly, just empathy. Yeah, over anything.
So you're not just an actor in this movie, you're also a producer. What was it about this movie that called to you and said, this story needs to come to the big screen?
The book fell into my hands, and I read it, and I thought it was such a beautiful story about a dad who felt like he was failing miserably, and then realized his son had more to teach him about life and love than anything else. And as a dad myself, I have kids, and you try to guide them and you try to teach them, but they're teaching you too. And I love the story of this family who's goes through so much, and their strength within each other is unbreakable, right? So it creates this bond that so many things happened, and they had to learn to laugh at it because it was so crazy, and then they ended up getting through it together. Where a lot of people would have fell apart, they came together. And so I feel like that's a great message for people, like just love and family and resilience and having faith. It's a really it's a message that the world needs right now. It's a trying time for everybody, and together we can get through it.
I love that. And this movie beautifully demonstrates, this family turning or finding joy even during difficult times.
Yeah.
What do you turn to find joy during your own hard times?
Family. I mean, family's everything. I just had about 10 or 11 of my family come tonight, and we were all sitting at a restaurant. I looked over, and I grew up with this really beautiful, tight family, 3 sisters. I got brother-in-laws there, my 2 daughters. One of them's in LA, but 2 of them are here tonight. And I looked across at how lucky am I? This group of people, they have my back, and I will always have theirs. And that's a beautiful thing.
How did this movie affect you personally in your own life? Like walking away from it, what changed about you?
I mean, there's so many wonderful takeaways from this film. Like I mentioned, resilience, love, faith. But I think for me, it made me a better dad. Like I have a 2.5-year-old son, and sometimes he gets frustrated with things. And before it would start, when a toddler's throwing a tantrum, it's not easy to stay calm, right? Because you get caught up in their energy. But what I learned is to really appreciate even those moments, find the joy in every moment. And so I try to stay a lot calmer and then allow my energy to affect him instead of their energy affecting me and making me stressed. So it's a beautiful thing.
You were the composer, and music is so important to how we connect to movies and connect to just everyday life. How did you find the right tone for the movie?
This was very collaborative with the director, my good friend John Gunn. And, it's a family drama, but he wanted to, within the struggle of the parents raising Austin and Austin finding himself as well, John wanted to do something that was uplifting and sometimes even humorous within the drama moments, right? The more heavier moments, to still find the humor and the happiness. And because Austin, the little kid, I don't know if he's in the picture or not, the little kid is so happy and in the moment all the time. And John was like, I don't want to lean on the drama too much. I want to lean on the uplifting moments that sort of lead the film through Austin's character. And so that's how that happened. Yeah.
Amazing. What inspirations did you pull from to compose for this movie?
That's a good question. So we tried to find something that was unique to us, but I will say this, I'm a piano player by trade, but I had to teach myself how to play the ukulele. We wanted things that sounded innocent and playful and fun. So there's no big orchestra. There's some orchestral moments, right? Big orchestra and whatever. But it's a lot of acoustic guitars, a lot of poppy. We got to write a song, a lullaby that happens throughout the film, and you hear at the end by the cast singing. It's very, very wonderful, sort of smaller, contained, uplifting score with moments that, again, has a little bit of breath with the orchestra, but sort of focusing on sounds that felt a little bit more playful for the characters.
I love that. I love that. Now, no one watching this movie can leave unscathed. You get affected just watching the movie, and you composed it, and you were with this movie for a long time. How has this movie affected you?
I think that this film is a great reminder through, like Austin says, right? Scott, the dad, has a hard time living in the moment and appreciating these moments that are happening right now. And there's several times where Austin says, this is the best moment of my life. And he's just eating pancakes, but he celebrates that. And I think that is the most important part of the message. The hopefulness that comes with living in the moment and being appreciative and happy on those moments that might seem small in any moment, but make all of life, right?
So how are you guys doing tonight?
You know what? We're wimps. It's cold in these New York.
You got an Australian and a Californian here. Yeah, it's
strong.
Impressive. You're out there just braving it.
I think my tactic has been just to go numb and to just really stand in the cold.
Yeah.
And you can brave it that way.
It's good disassociation practice. It's great.
Exactly. So what made you guys want to come out and support the Unbreakable Boy?
Well, we have obviously so many friends and creative partners, Lionsgate Kingdom, that are the champions of this. And but films don't want to get made. So, and they've been working towards this for 5 years. John Gunn is a dear friend. Parker Adams, who edited it, is a dear friend. And so to be here to just sort of cheer them on, we're just cheerleaders. Get us the pom-poms tonight. And I think I'll say too, these stories are important. We believe in putting them on the big screen and putting them in this country and around the world. And so we're here to get the word out.
Yes, I love that. So this family shows how to find joy during hard times. Where do you guys find joy during difficult times?
Wow, that's a really good question. Sometimes it's the little things that are the most joyful to me. It's, being in the sun. It's being next to Joel and just being in his presence. It's our Great Dane. It's so many of the things that I think bring me the most joy are actually free. Sunsets. Although he's colorblind, he can't see them. It's a little sad. I know. They bring me joy. They don't bring him joy.
What about you?
I got stuck on this color blindness. What was the question?
Oh, what brings you joy?
Oh, what brings me joy?
During difficult times.
Well, it's interesting. We were part of a film last year called Unsung Hero that is a family film that circles around my family of origin going through a very hard time. And so obviously you can see a lot of cross connects with this film, another family going through really dire times and overcoming. And so simply said, I would say the beauty of family, be it biological or otherwise, of people choosing each other, banding together to overcome. That's kind of I think that's where the sweetness of life is. It's not in being an individual or individualistic. It's in finding a family and rising together.
If you enjoy videos that follow your values like ours and you want to help us continue, go to movieguide.org/donate because we're actually a nonprofit. You may not know that, but we're working in Hollywood every day to help families have more choices that follows their values. And also subscribe right now.